Arizona's Attorney General Mark Brnovich, clearly this is a big issue for him and for his state. So this is the first time, just to reiterate, General, the first time in more than a decade that ICE has not filed this year-end report. By the time that we've crossed over into the new year, they've got the numbers. They've had them for a while. What do you suspect is going on?
John, thank you for having me on. And I think that we all know what's going on. We don't need to suspect it, is that the Biden administration is engaged in a lack of transparency. And there were many of us that were worried they wanted to abolish ICE. But I think what's really happening is they're essentially abolishing our southern border. And we have seen that with a record amount of not only people coming into this country, but records amounts of fentanyl coming into our country. So the Biden administration and his enablers in our Congress have essentially ceded control of the border to the cartels. And so I think they think if they can ignore this problem or bury this problem or slow walk it, that the American public will ignore it. And we all know that's not true, because what they are doing is having real world consequences in all of our communities.
General, as Bill Melugin was reporting just a moment ago, ICE says, oh, don't worry about the report. It's in the final review stage. We're going to release it at some point in the future, maybe by the end of this month. But when you take a look at the trajectory of border encounters versus ICE enforcements, the border numbers were way, way, way up, and it appears as though the ICE enforcement numbers are way, way, way down. What do you expect that this report is going to show?
Well, I think it's going to show that exactly what you just pointed out, that those numbers are down. And what the Biden administration has done, and we know this from our multiple lawsuits and our depositions of the current officials, that people that have records, assaults, armed robberies, the crimes that you were just talking about, they're not being picked up. So they are being released from prisons, from jails, and that means they're just being let into our community. So as a result of the Biden administration's failure to start deport people inconsistent with Title 8 of the U.S. Code, we are going to see more criminals being released into our communities, and that results in less deportations. And I know from talking to, I was a gang prosecutor, federal prosecutor, talking to my friends at the Department of Justice, that if you look at the number of cases they're prosecuting for illegal reentry, those are dramatically declining as well. So what the Biden administration is essentially doing, John, is saying that there's no criminal penalties to coming here illegally, even if you're some degenerate sex offender or a rapist or an arsonist.
You mentioned this just a moment ago, that it's long been a goal of progressives to abolish ICE. The president of this nation, Joe Biden, has elected not to do that. But Tom Homan suggests that effectively what they're doing is they're abolishing ICE in a way. Listen to what he said on Fox earlier today.
They're trying to figure out how to spin the information. The data is not going to be good. If they send out an accurate report, which I doubt they're going to do, it's going to clearly show they may not have abolished ICE, but they abolished ICE's mission.
So the president can't get rid of ICE, but he can essentially get rid of what they do.
It's one of the reasons why, John, we have sued the Biden administration over the permanent and interim guidance. There are literally more than 1 million people here illegally that they are refusing to deport. Our communities are less safe and more dangerous as a result of the Biden administration and these progressive policies that are endangering all of us by flooding people into the country illegally and flooding fentanyl and methamphetamine into our communities.
Attorney General Mark Brnovich of the state of Arizona, you've got a big hill to climb here when it comes to the border. We wish you well. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, John.
And